Hey everyone, this is my Mardu enchantments and tokens deck. It's one I've been brewing for a while, and I think I've gotten to a place where it works really well with the current meta. It's a janky, control-y type of deck, and I think it's going to be really fun for you guys to try out. So the key cards in this are Fires of Invention. This card allows us to play multiple enchantments in a single turn without using up too much of our mana. And the reason we want to have our mana available is because several of our enchantments are mana sinks, primarily Dawn of Hope for 4 mana you create a 1/1 lifelinker, as well as Ethereal Absolution. For 4 mana you exile a card from an opponent's graveyard, and if it was a creature, you create a 1/1 flying white-black spirit creature token with flying. And those are also our 2 main token generators. We're also running a couple copies of Divine Visitation that will turn those tokens into 4/4 flyers. And so that's one of the win conditions. The other one is just to create value turn over turn with Outlaw's Merriment. It's pretty fun. Every upkeep, it randomly chooses one of 3 different tokens that have different effects to come onto the board. And if you have Outlaw's Merriment with Divine Visitation, it creates a 4/4 angel every turn. Have multiple of these out, you're just creating tokens like crazy, as well as any activations for Ethereal Absolution. The key part is staying alive until you can get these engines on board and running. As a result, we're running a lot of spot removals and board wipes. So we have 3 copies of Prison Realm. Now, Prison Realm can capture both a Planeswalker or a creature, as well as a Scry 1 to make sure we hit our lands or get the enchantments that we need. Oath of Kaya does 3 damage, gains you 3 life, really good against aggro that is beating down on you. Theater of Horrors helps us with card draw. Definitely Clarion is another board wipe, as well as Kaya's Wrath. So we're running 7 total, basically wipes or wrath effects. And this matches up mainly with what I've seen in the meta, where they're just trying to put as many creatures down, or maybe even large creatures, as possible, and trying to finish the game quickly. This will help us stay alive. Additionally, Dawn of Hope and Ethereal Absolution both can create a creature at instant speed to become a blocker when needed. Other tech that I've found useful is Starfield Mystic. It reduces the cost, so we can get a turn 3 Fires of Invention down real quick, which helps us speed up our engine. And Lilion Dreadhorde General creates the tokens with a +1, which is important. However, this slot is kind of flexible. I just found this one to be a very powerful card. But I think one very important card is Cavalier of Dawn. Now, all the other Cavaliers have found homes in different decks. The blue and the red one have found a home in the Jeskai Fires deck, the black one in the mono black deck, and the green one in the Simic Ramp deck. However, the white one kind of hasn't found a home, and I think it works really well here, mainly because of its ETB effect. It comes down, it can destroy any permanent, including your own, and the permanent's owner gets a 3/3 golem in return. So, say we have an Oath of Kaya on the board. It was placed down, did its damage, and it's just sitting there. We can destroy it with Cavalier of Dawn, and if Cavalier of Dawn eventually dies, we get to return Oath of Kaya back into our hand. Also true for any of our other enchantments that happen to get destroyed. They can come back to our hand with Cavalier of Dawn. This is also unconditional removal for any opponent's permanents, so Planeswalkers, their own enchantments, their ovens, for example. Large creatures, this can get rid of it and turn it into a 3/3 golem, which can easily be blocked by Cavalier of Dawn. Those are the main cards. Some other cards that I kind of looked at for this deck are Conclave Tribunal. There's other people running similar types of deck. Mogwai had one in his channel. Outlaw's Merriment, Fires of Invention, same thing, but he was running Conclave Tribunal. I found this to be a bit slow. We don't have quite the creatures to convoke it, but this is a really good card that can easily be added if you run into taller meta rather than a wide meta in terms of creatures. This Mothering Tide is fun, especially against more control-y matchups, but didn't run into many of those, so I didn't include it. Same thing for Leyline of Void, a very specific hate card for sacrifice decks. However, it was too slow and it was just a dead card in some matchups. Revenge of Ravens, great against aggro, however, I did find it to be a bit slow, so I opted for more life gain and board wipes instead of this card. Doom Foretold, another fun card. It's enchantment. It does create tokens as a side effect. However, if the opponent knows how to work around it, you may end up destroying your own enchantments or not really doing anything. So I left it out in this case. And this is a card that, if you want to replace Liliana with, you can. It's pretty fun. Captive Audience. Sometimes the opponent doesn't really lose anything. It goes into their control, and then they have to choose whether their life becomes 4, they discard, or if the opponent, in this case you, will get to create 5 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, which is fun, especially if you have Divine Visitation on board, because that means you create 5 4/4 angels. I actually had that happen in one of the games I played when testing out Captive Audience. However, I found Lilion to be a more proactive card in the matchup. But yeah, so I'm going to show you some games I had against certain decks in the regular queue or in the ranked play, and hope you guys enjoy.